of sports.
Welcome to the Shotclock, where we're talking sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat, and we're 100% digital, 100% live, and 100% real. Let's count them down. Welcome to the Shot Clock. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat. This is our digital sports show. We are live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Thank you for joining us. We do this every Monday at 12 o'clock. Happy March Madness. Happy Women's History Month. We got a lot to get to today. Let's get to my co-host today, Terrell Thomas, Senior Sports Editor, Entertainment and Sports Editor for These Urban Times. Hello, Terrell.
Hey. Happy Monday. Happy March.
Listen, March is here, baby. March Madness. You know the premise of the show. We put ourselves on the shot clock. We gotta get it in before 20 minutes is up, okay? We are honoring one very special woman today. It is Women's History Month. There are now a lot of women in sports, but that wasn't always the case. It was definitely a boys' club. So we're going to honor every week one special woman, and we are honoring someone later today in the show from the Sixers. So make sure you hang out for that, okay? Let's get into the playbook. This is where we talk about our top basketball stories. And in Philadelphia, which is where we're broadcasting, they've announced the new COVID guidelines for sporting events. Now, it looks a little light. 2,500 people outdoor events, 500 people indoor events. So if you're trying to go to an Eagles game at the Lincoln Financial Field, 2,500. You're trying to go to the Wells Fargo to watch a Sixers game, 500 people only allowed. This is starting today. So what do you think about this, Terrell? Now, Terrell's in Atlanta. You guys have actually been allowing fans to come to basketball games already. What are you seeing from that experience? And do you think that these numbers are too low or they're just right?
I think for where Philadelphia is, from my understanding at this point, they're just right, because I do believe these are the beginning stages of getting people in and out of events and things of that nature. As you mentioned, I am in Atlanta. I'm a media member for the Atlanta Hawks, but they've reduced the amount of media that can actually go into the games. They're all on Zoom as how we're doing things now. I have attended a game as a fan also, and they're only letting about 1,200 people in. And it's very new, definitely a different situation. I am happy that Philadelphians are able to get into the building, though. I know a lot of Philadelphia Sixer fans were hyped to get in to see how great this team is doing. So I think it's great. I think the numbers will increase in a month or so. But I think those are phenomenal numbers.
Yes, I'm definitely on board. I think that slow is better than fast, especially when this situation, there's going to be a lot of kinks that people need to iron out. So I'm okay with there only being 500 people at a Sixers game. I need to see how this works. How are we all getting in? How are we all getting out? Some people think that there should be more, but again, we have to see how people react, and they have to figure out the guidelines and the protocols to get everything smoothly and get done smoothly. And also the social distancing, there's a lot to worry about. So big shout out to everybody actually checking in on social media. Hey, Kat. I saw Anthony commenting before as well. You can comment during the show, and we will definitely get to your comments. Sean Sam said slow is fast in the pandemic. I agree.
Very true.
Let's figure out the kinks and then move from there. What we don't want is to have too many people in and you haven't gotten it all the way figured out, and then people start getting sick, because they will shut everything down after that, okay? Moving on, the NBA All-Star Game is happening this Sunday, March 7th, down in Atlanta. Terrell, I know you're excited about this. The performances we'll talk about that. That's interesting. But the performances have been announced, the entertainment part of this. The NBA is going to honor HBCUs throughout the evening, and they're going to have musical performances and more things like that. They've announced that they're going to commit more than $2.5 million in funds towards not only HBCUs, but also supporting awareness around the COVID-19 care relief and the vaccines and things like that. So before tip off, we're going to see Auntie Gladys Knight taking the stage. She's going to be singing the national anthem. Alessia Cara is going to be doing the Canadian national anthem, and she's actually going to be doing it remotely from Canada. Gladys will be there at the State Farm Arena doing it live. And then, of course, there's going to be HBCU themed entertainment throughout the night. We're going to see the Clark Atlanta City Choir performing at an on-campus location. We're going to see Grambling State University of Florida A&M's marching bands, Atlanta step teams from Spelman College and Morehouse. How are you feeling about this, T? Especially since it must be like a different energy down in Atlanta because it's happening there.
The energy right now, honestly, is up in the air. You have a lot of Atlantans who aren't excited that the All-Star game is coming here because of the additional traffic that will come to the city. I do like what the NBA is doing as far as including the HBCUs, with there being so many HBCUs here in the South or in the Atlanta area. I think that's phenomenal that they're sharing their platform in that way. But there are no actual NBA sanctioned events going on or anything like that. So it's not your typical All-Star weekend. I know there won't be fans really in the building outside of HBCU professors, NBA All-Star family members. There won't be any fans in the building. So it's definitely different. As a basketball lover, I'm excited to see how everything takes place on one day, having the 3-point shootout, the slam dunk contest, and the game all take place on Sunday. But I'm not necessarily thrilled because we won't get to celebrate the All-Star weekend as we normally would, coverage-wise or as fans.
So when we first started talking about this, we felt like the NBA was doing too much, right? Mm-hmm. To put all of these events that normally are spread out throughout the course of 3 days into one day. But now that they're incorporating the HBCUs and kind of trying to make a statement, especially after the last year that we had and the beginning of the first year, does that kind of make it a little bit better? Because now they're adding more people to the fold. You know, they're adding entertainment, they're adding different people that might be in that arena. Does that balance out the feeling of, oh, they're doing too much at this point?
I would just say from the perspective in which I've seen throughout the city, I don't think it really has. I think for HBCUs and alums of HBCUs, it's a great thing. But I think for your common everyday citizens, they're not too thrilled of everything that's coming to the city that isn't actually NBA related. So I think they could offer like money. Yeah, facts.
What are you talking about, Terrell?
Facts. The groupies and the unnecessary partying that'll take place that, you know, really doesn't have anything to do with celebrating the weekend. But I do think the NBA is taking a great hold by including HBCUs and giving them all the help that they can.
All right. Kyrie Irving has renewed conversation about changing the NBA logo to honor Kobe Bryant. This was initially a conversation that happened when he passed away about a year ago. And he has kicked that conversation up again by posting this on Instagram. He said that it's got to happen. I don't care what anyone says. Black Kings built the league. Now, I think everyone would agree with that statement. But really the question here is this something that the NBA is really willing to do? Now, Vanessa Bryant obviously loves the idea. To give you some backstory on the logo, Jerry West is on the original logo. However, the NBA has never really acknowledged, the league has never really acknowledged that that's him. But he stated that he actually doesn't even want to be a part of the logo, you know, but the NBA has never even acknowledged him. So it doesn't really, it seems like they don't really care what he thinks or doesn't think. You know, he said that he supports changing the logo. I personally don't see the NBA doing this. But do you think that the NBA will actually go through with this, Terrell?
I think if it picks up enough steam, and it's consistent throughout the years, that we could possibly see it happen, maybe in the year 2024 or something like that. You know, they honor Kobe by changing it that year. I don't see it happening overnight. I do think Kyrie is making a great stance. As you mentioned, he brought this up a few months ago when Kobe first tragically passed away, as a great way to honor him. Throughout the years in the 90s, you had in the early 2000s, you had people saying that this should be changed to Michael Jordan's logo, the Jumpman logo. But I think Kobe, being how he tragically passed away and everything he's meant to the league, I think it would be great.
And it's funny you brought that up because I was actually going to say that, you know, in reading the thread for this conversation, a lot of people were like, well, if anyone needs to be on the logo, it needs to be Michael Jordan, you know? I mean, I know this is a hard question to ask, but if they were going to change the logo, would you rather see Kobe or Jordan on it?
I would rather see Kobe. I feel like when we see Michael Jordan's logo, we associate it with so many other things, whether it's his own personal clothing and sneakers and things. His logo stands out for what it is. We all know, you see that flying man in the air, you know what that is. I think once again, just for how Kobe tragically passed away, for all that he's meant on and off the court to the NBA and NBA players, I will go with Kobe.
I actually really agree with that. And I don't think the NBA actually is even going to make a change, because for you to use someone's likeness, you have to pay them. Yes. There's a reason for why they never said that's Jerry West on the NBA logo. Can we look at the current logo versus what the proposed change is? They've never acknowledged that logo is Jerry West's silhouette. There's a reason. They don't want to pay the man. You got to pay people for using, their image. And the amount of hard work it would take to completely rebrand a whole league, not just domestically, but also internationally. I don't see the NBA putting money into that, especially during a pandemic where they're already suffering from different things because different streams of income have changed, Now, if you look at this, I really like the color version of this, but if you look at it like, without the color, it kind of looks a little clunky, this proposed Kobe logo, right? The original one still looks better aesthetically. What do you think, T?
I think they would probably have to widen it slightly. The original one does look better. To your point about internationally, I think if the NBA were to change the league to Kobe stuff, their merchandise would sell out immediately internationally. And just the love of Kobe Bryant and people to have a sweater that has the Kobe logo or something on it like that, I think if they change that logo, it would sell out just like that. But I do feel what you're saying. It's a cleaner look with Jerry West. But I think they would find a way to get Kobe up in there.
Right. Sean Sams said on Facebook, the NBA should change the silhouette logo every 25 years. That's a good proposition. So that's the playbook. Let's get into a word from one of our sponsors.
Stop overpaying for wireless. Switch to Boost Mobile and watch your bill drop. Plan starting at $10 a month that match your data needs. Think your phone company can get down like that? Get started for as low as $10 a month. All on America's largest 5G network for less. Boost Mobile.
Welcome back to the Shot Clock. This is our digital sports show. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat. Sports and entertainment editor Terrell Thomas is joining me from These Urban Times. So it is Women's History Month. For our kickoff, we are honoring a personal friend, someone that I really look up to, Lara Price. She's a chief operating officer for the Philadelphia 76ers. Lara is a trailblazer. She is celebrating 25 years of working with the Sixers and the NBA. In her position as the chief operating officer, Lara oversees the Philadelphia 76ers business operations, their corporate and team communication and public relations, and the Sixers community engagement. In 1998, Lara became one of the first female vice presidents in the NBA. In 2018, she was named one of Adweek's most powerful women in sports, and she's been named Sports Business Journal's Game Changers. Lara's love for basketball began when she was a player. She played for Colorado State University, where she also graduated. Here's how basketball has influenced Lara's life.
Everything that I learned in basketball translates to what I do every single day, whether it's leadership, pushing through things when you think you can't give anymore, teamwork, learning, plays and learning to not be selfish and let your teammates that may have a better skill set than you take the shot where, you may just be playing defense or passing the ball, and learning to get along with a diverse group of people. So I think the lessons that I learned in sports, I value every day in everything that I do.
We would like to welcome Lara Price, our first Woman of the Game honoree here at the Shot Clock. Welcome! Woo!
Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Terrell. So glad to be here. So honored to be your first guest. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Lara, you recently celebrated 25 years of being with the team. Did you ever see yourself getting here at this particular moment, being a COO of one of the best franchises in the league right now?
You know what? It's been an incredible journey. And, I look back when I started the 25 years ago, and I was just focused on getting into basketball because it was my favorite sport. And, I've just been taking chances, opportunities as they came. And, 25 years at the same organization, probably not, but I feel really fortunate to have been able to do that. The managing partners have changed, 3 times while I've been here. So it's run differently and it's a little bit different organization, but it's such an honor to work for such an iconic historical brand and all the amazing, great players that have played the game.
As you just mentioned, 25 years in the game. How have things changed with the Sixers over your time working with them? You just mentioned 3 different managing groups. How have things changed during that time?
It's so interesting. Basketball and all sports, quite frankly, we have a responsibility to be leaders. And, I know there's different comments, and some players have commented, one being a former Sixer player, about role models and what we do. But, the platforms have changed, and the game's changed. It's been sped up. Our rules change. The, how our players are viewed is changed. And, just from a consuming standpoint, we used to be the only live programming that existed. And now you look at everything's live, right? So people and their consumer habits have changed. So we've had to adjust a lot with how we provide content and how we market our players, how we market our brand. And quite frankly, the players now get it. They don't necessarily need the teams. They can market themselves. They can go on and do things like this. They can take their own brand. They can go out and do it. So finding that partnership with them and working through that, and then just this last year, using our brand, and you guys talked about it earlier in the show, about what the NBA is doing at the All-Star game. This is a partnership with them. And, the players are having a say and they're making a difference. And, the foundation that they created, the players are on it, and it is focused on diversity, 100%. It's 30 million, I think it's 50 million, what is it? It's $100 million, sorry, $100 million, over, 10 years that we're investing as a league with our players to support the diversity initiative. So, I think that our players are finding their voices. And I know there's some controversy around that too. I've been watching LeBron go back and forth with one of the soccer players. But you know what? Our players are informed. They want to make a difference. They care. And I think, not back in the 80s too, players have always used that platform. You look at Bill Russell. So I think there's a lot of similarities. I just think how we consume our product has changed.
Yeah. Laura, I mentioned back in 1998, you were one of the first female vice presidents in the NBA. We were talking offline. So much has changed. Even seeing like the referee, the woman referee during the Super Bowl. What does the climate look like now? Or do you still find yourself in the room where you're the only woman?
It happens sometimes, but that's what's been so great with, the last 10 years. There are women now that have a seat at the table, and there's a president at the Flyers, right? Female, she's running it. There's quite a few women C-suite executives at the Eagles and at the Phillies, and that wasn't that way 10 years ago. So it's been incredible for me to see the change and the diversity across the league in general. I mean, we can always improve the leagues as a whole and teams as individuals, but to go from being the only female in the room to now usually, there could be 3, 4, 5 women in the room. It is a huge change. And, it makes me happy to see, and I'm really excited to see what will be in the future.
How has your day-to-day operations changed, if any, without there being fans in the building?
You know what? You would think it would be less work. It actually has been more work. Just it's preparing plans, and everything changed. The league, you guys watched the bubble. That was a ton of work, and they used their learnings there to bring it back to the arenas. We went from being completely enclosed to, introducing exterior factors, right? So how does all that work, and how do we come back to play safely? Working with state guidelines, city guidelines. I know you guys announced that. I think Governor Wolf came out with a statement that they just approved 15% capacity indoors and increased it on outside as well. So having to work with the state, city, and the NBA guidelines, it's been a lot of work. First and foremost is player safety. And, that was what we focused on. And then now we're super focused, and you both talked about this too, is on fan safety, media safety. We were allowed to have 35 media members in the building, all socially distanced apart, and, making sure that food was, everyone's way far apart, containered. So it's been a lot of work, and it hasn't shut down. But what I'm really excited to see is that fans are going to start coming back into the buildings. We're not there yet, Mina. I know you saw that 500 number. It takes about 500 people to put on a game.
Oh my God.
And that's what the number for the state was. But now that they've increased it, we can look at doing that. So we're working really closely with state and city governments to get the fans back in there, but safely, and making sure that we communicate that. It was so different to be in that arena with no fans and watch the basketball game. I mean, you can hear the players, you can hear what they're saying on the court. So that was a big adjustment, and I think now it's going to be an adjustment, as you guys said, is like being around people and having more, fans in the stands and introducing it back slowly. But the biggest thing that we're focused on is safety for everyone involved.
So here's a question about the organization, right? So we've been talking about, even Joelle has mentioned this in post game, how the team has really changed since, Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers have joined. The climate in the organization, how have they affected the climate?
With Josh Harris and David Blitzer's leadership, and going out and, getting Doc and getting Daryl, two of the best executives in basketball. We are super fortunate. Doc is not only a leader on the court, he's a leader off the court. And, that builds culture. And, Daryl is a top executive, and has proven that over the years. So the combination and the players that we've brought in, the supporting that they do for each other, it's different as you see it. And that's, that was no disrespect to Coach Brown. I love Brett Brown. But, Doc is, he's one of the winningest coaches in the NBA. And, he has the respect of the players, and they are playing hard. And, both Daryl and Doc are a big part of the reason, we're in first place in the East, and has our guys playing at a super high level.
Doc definitely has the gentleman playing at a super high level, as you just mentioned. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid will be members of the All-Star team this year. What are your thoughts on that?
So excited for the both of them. This is Ben's third time, Joel's fourth time, and he started all four times. And again, as you said, that's a big part of why we're first place in the East. And they deserve it. They have played hard. They want to win. And, it's so exciting for the organization to have them in there, and not to mention having Doc as the head coach too. He deserves that, and so happy for him. He gets to bring our assistant coaches, so all the hard work that we've put in, and, it's showing on the court. Really happy to get the acknowledgement for all of them. Little disappointed that Tobias didn't get in. He was playing really, really well. So I want to give him a shout out, because he did, in our opinion, he did deserve to be on that team too.
And we agree here at the Shot Clock. Laura, last question. There have been so many talks about Joel being the MVP, Embiid for MVP. I see it now. Have you guys talked about actually putting forth a campaign with the organization to get that chatter going and kind of strengthen it a little bit?
Yeah, so as you know, and I think you guys see, we'll support all of our players in any kind of awards that there are, whether it's All-Star or the end of the season. So yeah, we'll be behind him. We'll be behind Ben. If it's Defensive Player of the Year, like we will start pushing that. And Philadelphia is an incredible city, and they will get behind it too. So some of that starts organically, and then the team comes behind it. But yeah, we're 100% supportive of that, and as we keep moving on through the season, hopefully, Joel's numbers will continue. He's been playing at an incredible, pace and rate and scoring and blocking. So we're really excited about it.
Laura, we thank you so much for your time. You're the COO for the Sixers, so we know you got a lot to do today. We are so honored. Thank you for being a trailblazer and really just leading the room and bringing our perspective to the table for 25 years, really. And we're going to send you something very special from, the folks here at the Shot Clock, from Amir and Wiso, our producers, Terrell, Sean Bell, and myself. And we thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for what you guys are doing. This is a great show and a great outlet for people to get their sports information. You give them different takes, and you give them the ability to respond to you and interact, which I think is amazing. So thank you for what you do, and you're leading too, Mina. You guys are leading.
Thank you so much, Laura. Have a great day.
All right,
Happy Women's History Month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And here's our word from one of our sponsors.
We've seen how far this game can go, so we take it and run.
Making moves like nobody.
For everybody.
We don't move within the lines.
We move beyond them. Hennessy, the spirit of the NBA.
We are so far behind time. We missed a shot. We've been, ref had called, all kinds of penalties on us. We are not on time today.
We went to overtime. That's all. Overtime.
Seriously, overtime. Okay, we about to win. Terrell Thomas, Mina SayWhat, it's the Shot Clock. Real quickly, let's look at the Sixers schedule for this week. It's hefty. We have a hefty schedule this week. The Pacers, they lost, I believe, the last 3 games, but we're taking them on tonight, 7:00. The Jazz, number 1 team in the league right now. They have a better record than we do. They're 27-7, number 1 in the West. This is going to be a big game on Wednesday, Thursday against the Bulls away, Friday, Wizards, Suns. Sunday versus the Spurs. This is what happens when you're trying to get it done fast. What are you seeing from this team?
I see 4-1. The only game that's in question for me would be that game against the Jazz. I think the two teams are very evenly matched from that position. But overall, with the upcoming schedule, I see the Sixers possibly going 4-1 to move into the All-Star break.
Yeah, and we just lost to the Cavs. So hopefully Doc is kind of getting his team together, just saying, hey, we need to get this done here. We need to improve and stop slacking. Shout out to Ezio, who's on our Facebook page right now. So this is the big boss. Hello, Ezio. Thank you for watching. Before we go, I definitely want to say rest in peace to Irv Cross. Yeah. Irv Cross is a former Pro Bowl defensive back who became the first Black man to actually work full-time as a sports analyst on national television for CBS. He died yesterday. Ironically, on the last day of Black History Month, he was 81 years old. Cross spent 6 of his 9 NFL seasons with the Eagles. Rest in peace to Irv Cross. Condolences going out to his family and all the fans that remember him being on our team. So thank you all for watching us wherever you're watching us, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Next week, we are honoring another woman in sports, and we like her. Drake likes her too. She was actually trending, I think, this weekend. So you come on back next Monday, 12:00, the Shot Clock. Terrell Thomas, thank you so much for your time. Laura Price, thank you for your 25 years of service. And thank you for watching. It's the Shot Clock. Talk to you next week. Thanks for watching the Shot Clock. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat, and you got something you want to talk about next week? You can always hit me up on social media at Mina SayWhat, and make sure you join us 12:00 next Monday on R&B Philly's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll see you then.